wonder if this... Hi everyone, if you are here, hello Tina. I just had a murky thing going on with my camera. I had to revert to my laptop camera for some strange reason. Technology and me not having a good sync up today. All right, well, there's a lot going on within a lot going on, and no doubt some people will be feeling quite maybe stretched. Some people will be feeling calm and settled, and some people might be vacillating between the two. So what came yesterday? Hello, Heather. Welcome everyone. What came yesterday, and I'll see if I can describe it. So first of all, we are what can only be considered the most intense week of energies that we have ever had in our lives. And who knows, will it get bigger than this, or will it continue at this level, or will we up level enough that we're not feeling it? It could be any of those things. But what Gaia said to me yesterday morning is we are very close to the 0 point, the bottom of the cone, and that's how she was showing it to me. If you imagine a road cone or a pointy wizard's hat turned upside down, so the bottom of the cone, and she was describing it as the turning point, as the inversion correction point in this eclipse. So we've had it. Takes us to the place where we start afresh, where we start anew, a new beginning. And she is saying that we may feel it as we might feel emotionally flat, as though there's nothing there. We might feel totally blissed out, or anything in between. But she said to just see it as this settling time, as this conclusion, and on this, and feel into this, because I feel a bit emotional about it. A closing on an old life. We're closing out our old life, and so that, to me, that feels quite emotional. And our emotions are very close to the surface at the moment. It's easy to be, for me, it's easy to giggle and burst into laughter, and it's also easy for me to cry. Hello, Larissa. Hello, Carla. Welcome. Welcome to everyone who is on here and hasn't put their name in the chat, and there's no obligation to do so, of course. So it is that we are leaving our old way of being, our old world, our old life, our old earth, and that may come with leaving our old friends. It may come with leaving all sorts of components. Hi, Lizzie. It may come with leaving all sorts of components of our life. And to me, it is as though we're on a bridge. So we're on a bridge for a few days. We are moving from our old life and in preparation for the new. It's this little flat plank we are walking across, and we'll just see what arises for each of us. Yeah. So she says, we're getting ready for the 1111 gateway of renewal, this new time and space, new energies and frequencies. So I just wanted to go back and reread a couple of things that to me seemed really important. That I'm showing that as we move through this gateway, that it expels and incinerates all particles, elements, and thoughts that are in fourth dimensional negative polarity. So you can see how this, if you were thinking about the, balancing the scales, how taking away the negative from here allows us to rise up without anything extra added to it. Hello, everyone else. Hi, Leah, Fiona, champion for the cause, Julie. And then the other thing that is important is that I was told that in the meantime, so in this time that we are moving through now, anything that is not of Christ consciousness is going to begin to dissolve. So anything that is not of the Christos light, this crystalline light, this Christed consciousness vibration is being removed and dissolved from our world. Now, I'm not saying, and I haven't been shown that it happens like that, but we're in the beginning point of that. So we're in this deep purification. It's deep, and we're asked to be honest with ourselves about what comes up. We don't have to scoop around in it and dig it over and see what's underneath it. We just see what rises, because we're moving through this purification, this dissolution, and that includes everything that is within us that isn't our truth and anything that holds us back in lower vibration. So we will be watching, and no doubt you will have already been experiencing this shift. Old paradigms, old limited ways of thinking, old beliefs, old structures, old systems, they are all dissolving. So they are dissolving within us. So these might be faulty premise that we've based a whole lot of our lives on, or that we've used for our decision making, and it brings unsurety, it brings a wobble, it brings a deep self-analysis of, wow, well, I always believed that, and in my entire life I have thought that to be so, and now I'm discovering that it isn't. And I just want to say it's going to happen to all of us, and we just have to be gentle with ourselves about it. So I ask you to think about this and to feel into it. What is going on for you? What's going on inside you? What is being alchemized, purified, healed, released, expanded? All of those things are happening on some level. And all of those things are also happening within our earth and for all of the creatures on our earth. So I believe that one of the reasons why we are in this flat line, walk the plank, cross the bridge kind of energy is that it's pushing us, because we're so human. It's pushing us to surrender. It's pushing us to hand it over. We cannot make sense of it. We cannot understand it. We don't know what to do with it. We don't know what to do with ourselves. So the energy is very, it's provocative. It's contracting. It's pushing. It's pulling us. And I believe that that's why. It's so we just have to hand it over. We have to give it over to God, give it over to divinity, give it over to divine essence, whatever is your belief about that. the Creator. I believe that that's why we're in this little time. It's our opportunity just to hand over a little bit more. Yeah, so I wrote that it's a push to surrender. It's to break the bridge. It's to bring about truth so we can see our own truth or be open to receiving the truth. And remember, I think this is just a really good thing for us to remember, that these things happen for us, not to us. Oh yeah, I got this off I have this on my kitchen wall because I need to remind myself of this. So what's meant to be yours is already making its way to you. What was never yours is starting to flee from you. With time, it will all make sense. For now, bear the confusion and focus on living fully in the present. Don't let your whole life be, I'll be happy when. Be happy now. So that's something that I read to myself most days. So we are, emotions are close to the surface. We're going through this dimensional shift. We can't hold on to anything. It's very wobbly. We've not done this before. We don't have any experience of how to do this. And we don't have any guidance around it either, because no physical being has ever done what it is that we are doing now, this ascension, moving physical form through to a new dimension without passing, without leaving the body. So yeah, lots of truth might arise for us, things that we've maybe bundled away about ourselves might be coming up. It's a very naked moment, really. We're being asked to be stripped down to ourselves, to look deeply at who we are and where we've come from and what we are here to do or be. And this is all going to become patently obvious and in our life. So we're doing this 3D to 5D juggling. That's how I'm showing it. So we're leaving our third dimensional world, although not physical form, but our way of operating, and into our fifth dimensional world, which we don't yet know about, but it's about creating in the moment. So it becomes very pertinent to be present with the moment, which is, I guess, if I've been harping on about anything, that would be it. And this is our fifth dimensional life, is the creation of what is right now, being present with the breath and creating in the moment. And so we need to get into good practice with that. Yeah, so we're doing this examining and this experiencing and this juggling between 3D and the 5D. And we'll be observing that. I mean, we are observing that, aren't we? We're seeing that happen very clearly in government structures and systems and finance at the moment around the world. And it's becoming up and in our face. And we are being led by some amazing, look at the population of Brazil. They are out there calling for their freedom, for their rights, for their choices to be held, for their democratic rights. So I want to say to you that we are really moving into this higher heart, this divine purpose, this mission. This is becoming obvious to people. The higher hearts are showing up to have a stronger resonance, a stronger vibration to me over the past 6 months, I think. maybe longer. There's been this strong connection between the higher heart and the throat. So this is our examining ourselves, examining our truth. Why are we here? What are we to do? What is our focus? And I know that many of you are doing it, and Lizzie Goodness, who is on here, she has this very big mission in the world, which she is well on her way to doing, where she is encouraging people. She's my garden guru. So she is encouraging people to learn about collecting seeds and growing gardens and using organic and finding ways of contending with all of what occurs in the garden in a way that's good for the earth and good for people. And she's just, I feel very blessed to have come across her and met her, and I just really, she's doing this amazing, great big work in the world. So she's based here in New Zealand in the Bay of Plenty. Yeah, so if that calls to you, you could look her up online, or you could send me a message. So I want to say we are moving into divine design. Like, this is beyond us. We're going to be skating by the seat of our pants as we are learning to flow in the moment and look for the good in what comes, whether it's a lesson or an expansion. That we're coming into our higher divine alignment, this higher vibration, this higher frequency, this higher knowing. Every single aspect of us is up leveling, is upgrading. It's happening from the inside out. It's from our cellular change from carbon to crystalline. We're going through that metamorphosis, like the caterpillar into the butterfly. It's also came through that we are returning to our original divine plan blueprint at 5th dimensional level. So that's you, that's me, and that's all of the creatures on our earth and the earth. So there's this great rejig, really, this great recovery, this great regeneration, this renewal back to our original divine plan blueprints. And that comes also with this regeneration through the womb, through the sexual chakra, through the second chakra, the creative chakra. I don't know this based on anything other than my own intuition, but I believe that the sexual chakra connects strongly with the throat. And so when our creative area, our sexual chakra is healthy and open and in flow, that assists us to speak well and clearly through the throat with our truth. So we're in this strange kind of juncture for about another day. Perhaps you've been feeling like that since about yesterday or the day before. But these days between the eclipse and the 11:11 gateway are presenting very much like a bridge or a flat road or the 0 point. And Gaia certainly described it as that. So this is an opportunity to re-find yourself or find your new center, your new alignment in preparation for the big upgrade energies that are coming through on and beyond the 11th. So, I'll just mention here. I'm going to do a live online 11:11 meditation on the 11th at 11:11 New Zealand time. So AM 11:11 NZST, New Zealand Standard Time 11:11 AM. So we are in this preparation for renewal across all species, and all those who have made soul choices to ascend in whatever process they have chosen to use for that. And if you have a look maybe at my last video or another one ages ago, I can't even remember when, but I've spoken about how Gaia has said there's about 12 different ways that people may choose to either exit or to leave and return or to ride the wave of during this time. There will be much regeneration in these energies that are incoming now as the planet shifts dimensions and the dark and shadow elements are dissolved from our world. That alone brings major transformation. And as we move into greater collaboration, into unity consciousness and a unified field. So, imagine that. See yourself. There's a lot of Trinity energy, a lot of triangulation going on. Imagine that there's you and you're connected to two other people and you create this triangle, which is a very strong foundational form to move through this time, to bring about your aspect of connection. We'll be doing that in partnership, we'll be doing that in teams, and each of those then connect into another group of 3, and that can be a soul group or a particular kind of joint mission or purpose group. There's going to be a lot of redesignation, relocation, reallocation, movement around. So I'm going to do a twin reading tomorrow, so I'm just making sure I'm not reading the wrong things. So we're experiencing and have been experiencing chakra linkings in the body, and we will continue to do this until it's likely that, and this I have seen a few people like this, children too. It's likely that we will have this kind of unified field of our chakras. So we're healing them, we are integrating them, we're merging them in little sets. And then ultimately, I'm not sure exactly when, but it's good to not get caught up in the timing of these things. But ultimately, we'll be in sort of free flow, front and back with our chakras, and we'll be doing that from the 2 under the ground, which I might be the only person in the world who talks about that, right up to the 15th chakra will be in this flow that links in through our central vertical core. Hello, Angela. Welcome. So we are likely to have this unified flow of chakra energies linked to the central vertical core. And whilst some right now, like a lot of you will probably be feeling that you're in completion, right? Or that you're close to completion. So many light workers will be in that place where it's like, oh, I think I've done most of my healing. And so just be aware that you might have, or that you might not have. And so don't get caught up in whether you have or whether you haven't. Just deal with what comes up. But we're really in these sort of final refinement stages, but not everybody. So we're going to have this I'm showing that through the 1111 gateway that everyone who is going to ascend will be awakened, and those who are not, well, they will likely go or have gone already. And some who go will come back, of course. They will have just chosen to leave through this time to go and have regeneration before they return, something along those lines. So there also might be, and I had this yesterday, I had a little sneak up, a little revision of core wounds. So your core wounds may come up for a last little look, so you can just check in with that, see if it's okay. And of course, this time there are many who are beginning their healing journey, And so I do not know how much healing will come through the 1111 gateway. There is this part of me that feels that it will be a lot, because I remember having this conversation with Gaia a long time ago about Ascension. And I remember when I spoke to some people and they said, it's just so unfair. So I'm just going to warn you, you might feel that this is really unfair, but I feel that those of us who've been doing our work, we've been doing it on behalf of humanity. We've been doing it for ourselves, of course, but we've been doing it on behalf of humanity. And it has been, we've been like leading the charge, piercing the veil, opening up the cans of worms and digging through them and looking at what needs to happen. And we've been doing our healing. We've done our healing back through our parental lineages and through our cultural lineages and our geographical history. And we've done that work, and we've done that work so that everyone can ascend. And we'll see, I get a little bit wobbly about that. And so some people, I believe, and this is what I've been shown, it's like they will just be pushed through this hoop. And as they are pushed through this hoop, they will come out and they'll be all fresh and shiny and new, and they won't have their healing to do. It will be done. That's what I was shown a long, long time ago, and that's what I was reminded of today. And so I'm just telling you that. What else have I got here? It's also my understanding that we could experience miraculous healings through this time. That makes me feel good. Because we're moving into a world where sickness won't be present, where disease will be gone. And as I was writing that, I could see Gaia, because it was a big thing to write. And so I'm like, I wrote it, and then I closed my eyes again and I tuned into her, and she's nodding at me like this. So yeah, that's so. Miraculous healings are going to come. We will be living in a disease-free world, in a world without sickness. All of the interferences will be cleaned up. Our air will be cleaned. Our water will be cleaned and purified. Our food will be cleaned up, tidied up, all of the additives, the extra processes that our food are put through that create toxins in our systems will be back to clean and clear and fresh. Our pharmaceuticals will be cleaned up. Our education, government, and health will be corrected, made right, brought into alignment to be for the good of humanity. It's a big thing for many people to understand and accept, but I'm totally convinced that this is where we are at. That these democratically elected bodies, that we will do that differently. I'm not saying that's going to happen in a minute, but we're in process with that. Everything that we do will now be for unity consciousness, for love, for higher ways of being, for the good of the planet, of all sentient beings, including humans. So everyone also will have their own home, their own transport, or access to their own food, energy, and clothing provided. That's going to be our new world, everyone. And think about what that shifts, how the values will shift, how when greed is removed from our world and we come into abundance and prosperity. And I'm not talking about money, I'm talking about the feeling of, the knowing of, the living within it, the being in it, that knowing that we're in eternal flow and prosperity and abundance of all that we need. It frees up greed, it frees up selfishness. And this is where we are moving to. Money will cease to be a driver in our world. Everyone will be looking, it will be a little challenge for a lot of people to say, oh, well, what do I love to do? And how will I do that as a service? So that's, something to think about, to work on. And you're invited to conjure up all that leaves along with that, what is going to be moving on out because of that. So yeah, it's definitely time for us to look at that again. So that's what I'm going to be doing as part of our 11:11 meditation, if you care to join me, is to look at this this way of conjuring up and manifesting, of throwing our words out into the creation vortex about how we want our world to look, be, feel, how we want people to operate and interact. Also, our current experience of time. I want to remind you that I think it was a couple of years ago that I was explaining how Gaia had showed me that the construct of time had dissolved in the etheric, and we really are feeling that now in the physical, aren't we? Where it's hard to be sort of anchored into a time or a space or a day or a date, and it's not just me. It's just it's difficult for us to kind of be anchored into that, because we're moving dimensions, B, we're working more in quantum. This sort of whole construct of time has shifted out. We're now in this sort of quantum bubble, and we're having this present moment experience of time. Yeah, so this 11:11, it takes us to what I had called for a long, long time the gateway of illumination. And we are about to begin this meteoric climb through the dimensional spaces. So time is speeding up, or the idea of time speeding up. To me, it holds this paradox, because it feels to me that days are really stretched open and are long, and there's just so much space in them. And yet I don't know where I am in terms of the time of the day, or the date, or the day of the week, or sometimes even the month. We're going to be experiencing new species and new colors, and new materials and new ways of doing a whole lot of things, new technologies. So you also, at this time, I'm just about done, might be having flashbacks to past lives. I've been speaking lately about how we are integrating our multidimensional selves, these various lifetimes that we've spent in different eras and countries and geographies and cultures of our planet. But what I was showing today was that you may be having flashes or rememberings of moments and experiences, connections with others as well, from both Atlantean and Lemurian times. So just be aware that that may be something that comes up through third eye flashes, or through it showed up as little meetings that people might be having as well, or maybe with people you already know, and some little flashback comes about that you were together in Atlantis or in Lemuria. So just remember, you are integrating yourself, all of your dimensional selves, and especially here, I'm not too sure about off-planet integration. I'm not including that personally in it. I believe it's just Earth, but we're integrating these aspects of self and lifetimes here, with these connections throughout our own history, our soul history, our past lives, maybe our present lives, because we could look at it as parallel lives as well, and as future lives when we dip into that. and be aware that we're becoming hypersensitive. I have to tell you, I had this rather gorgeous experience yesterday, I think, where this leaf, I'm not kidding. So I was walking up a steep path that I come up to from the beach, and it's a concrete path, and I'm walking up it, and I was like, oh, there's somebody behind me, and I turned around and there wasn't, but I could still hear a noise, and I just stepped off. So it's a good 2-minute hike. Like, you hike up it for 2 minutes. You could spend 5 minutes strolling up it, but I was briskly walking up it, and I was just sure that there was somebody following me, and I could hear them. Anyway, I stepped off the path, and it was a leaf. So this leaf had followed me up the path for at least 100 meters of the path. And I thought, oh, that's a really lovely example of becoming hypersensitive of my surroundings. So you might be having experiences like that where you're hearing things that you wouldn't necessarily normally hear, or seeing little things. Somebody on the channel sent me a message saying that they had been watching like a haze coming off, or like a soft smoky haze coming off a tree. So yeah, we're moving to what you might see, hear, feel, know at next level. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me here. I'll just look in the chat. The feelings in my body are interesting. So I feel when I tune in, I can feel like little bubbles coming up from within me. I feel on the edges of giddiness, giggles, excitement. I'm really sitting steeped in the knowing that all is well, despite what we might be seeing around us. Yeah, I'm wanting to do that. Sighs. Julia's saying that she resonates with very much, and yes, it is. It's so good to know we're not alone, isn't it? That there are a lot of us going through this. Larissa's saying she feels flat, inert, suspended, with bursts of crying from time to time for no reason. Yes, I really do feel that that's in alignment with the fact that we are, in a way, suspended in the air and not yet knowing where we're landing or what it will be like. It's about being comfortable with the unknown. Champion for the Cause is saying, hello, Dawn. Felt a massive shift from healing the planet through the South as a conduit to now healing the South in order to heal the planet through our new vibration. Well, that's a beautiful way of putting it. Full creator mode activated. Yeah, we have had these kind of experiences of being turned inside out. The inversion, like I was speaking about, coming into the point of the cone and then doing the opposite. I'm sorry, there's lots of people on here. I'm sorry if I have missed you and haven't said hello to you. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Angela. Angela's saying someone had to do the hard work and we put our hands up for that. Yeah, we did. We must have. Kia ora, Wellbeing Navigator, Heidi. Influence on, Larissa is saying, can you ask Gaia about influence on humans during this shift of magnetic poles? What have we to do? Yeah, well, I've spoken to Gaia about this magnetic pole shift quite a few times, because I've never seen, I've seen a pole shift, but not a pole inversion. But what she showed me was that it was as though the earth gets turned inside out through the central vertical core, and that the north pole, the north-south axis, so the center of the toroidal field, that it just moves slightly north-northeast. So we will. I believe that we've already been, well, let's say, redesigned or configured for that. I believe that already happened to us, and I'm not very helpful to you with time, but probably before we went into lockdown throughout the world. So I got shown, let's see. So briefly, the toroidal field around the Earth used to operate in a clockwise direction and north to south through the central vertical core. And then I got shown that there was an overlay, and then the overlay went south to north and anti-clockwise, and that I got shown that was a fifth dimensional toroidal field, and that it was put in place to hold space while the third dimensional toroidal field was disintegrated. So that also happened for us, and I believe that that's like the holding field for us as we move through this. So that's why manifestation changed in my understanding, whereas we would manifest and kind of pull it in. Before that shift, the manifesting then came that we would pull it down and manifest it up. It was a different process. So there's that. We're being upgraded bit by bit from carbon to crystalline. We're having a change in our molecular structure. The light codes are moving down. So this is another way that I am seeing this. So we are getting energies in through our crown, but these codes that are coming in to activate our DNA are coming down into the earth, through the crystalline grids, into our own crystalline earth star chakra, up through our feet, into our spine, into our crystalline or into our spinal fluid, which shows up as this crystalline light, as this Christos light. And when I zoom in on that, it looks like little tiny molecules of pollen. And that is soothing and smoothing and reconnecting, healing, fusing our up to 12 strands of DNA. And so all of this is in preparation for this shift. All that we have to do is we be well hydrated, we be in present moment, and be attuned to our hearts. So we are being guided by our hearts. I believe that's all we have to do. So Larissa, does that answer your question? Let me know if there's anything else there for you. Angela's saying she saw a smoky haze coming off her cat. Oh, thank you, Tina. You're very welcome. She's thanking me for sharing. Well-being saying she could hear a bird chirp very close by, thought it was outside. Yeah, we're just, our senses are really up leveling. And then she's saying, oh, wow, sorry, I didn't realize there was a second part to it. And then she's saying, a fledgling bird hops into her room, looks at her and chirps, literally came in from outside, hopped down the hall and found me. She was the only one in the house. Gorgeous. Oh, it so is. And more the birds definitely. A few videos ago, you might have heard me say that I was on the deck talking to somebody, and he said to me, there's a dove in the house. And there was the speckle-necked. We have two. If you live in New Zealand, we have two native doves in our country. Oh, actually, it might be three. And there's a ring-necked dove and a speckle-necked dove, and I'm not sure what the third one is, but I think that I remember looking up and discovering that I was wrong, that there were three. And so this was the speckle-necked dove, and it was in the dining room. It was just padding around, and I walked in and I said to it, "Oh, I think you might be in the wrong place." And it just looked at me, and I said, "I think you might need to move out the other way." And it moved out towards the door, and it looked at me, and then it kept walking and moved out, and it was not disturbed or perturbed at all. It just seemed to be responding to my, it was doing what I asked it to do. So it was responding to my energy or responding to my voice, and it just walked. It didn't even flutter its wings, and it just walked its way out through the sliding door and onto the deck, and walked a couple of meters on the deck and then took off. So I'm showing, this connection. It will be much easier for us to have connections with the animals as we've made this dimensional shift, as many of you will be discovering now as you've softened into your hearts and you have that beautiful resonance and frequency that's emitted from within you. Are you champion for the cause? Are you in New Zealand? Saying she saw a pair of whitish speckly doves yesterday, and his brown doves in her area. So yeah, there's for me it's this whole in Australia. For me it's this whole idea that all of my life I've had dreams of doing what we're doing now and wondering if it's ever going to happen, and we are in the midst of it, and we just have to, it's massive change, and we just have to trust ourselves and know that we're going to be okay through this, and just do this, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. So thank you so much for coming and joining me. I so appreciate that. And I'll be on tomorrow to give some update about the divine counterpart twin flame energies, which have had a little bit of a shift. All right. Much love, everyone. Oh, and yeah, do put it in your diary to join me if your time works on the 11th of November at 11:11 a.m. live on my channel for a guided meditation. Ka kite.